Hey guys, it's Jason from Andzen here. Before we get to this month's episode, just wanted to pop into your ear canals and remind you to please go to andzen.co/podcast. Make sure you register for your episodes along with the free Add To Cart flow that we've been offering. Andzen is now also offering a free audit of your CRM platform. It doesn't have to be Klaviyo, it can be whatever tool you're using. Our team will jump into the account, look at your data capture figures, your list engagement, your deliverability, all of your campaigns and flows, and give you a massive amount of insight on what you are doing today and what you could be doing tomorrow. So once again, head over to andzen.co/podcast. Make sure you register, pick your abandoned cart flow or your audit, and we'll see you in the episode shortly. Thanks, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Andzen Approach. My name's Jason, and today we are joined by Scott, the APAC Market Lead from Okendo, and of course, Brendan, the CEO at Andzen.
Not founder.
Not founder,
sorry. No, CEO and founder.
Yeah.
I like to just go by founder. Scott, welcome to Brisbane. Great to see you. We were on a pod. Well, I was joining your partner webinar this morning.
Yes.
Thanks for the shout out. Good to see you in person.
Yeah, two times in one day. One virtual, one in physical.
Yeah. I always forget how much of a big unit you are. So good to see you.
Yeah.
Today we're drinking some Heaps Normal, one of Scott's favourite beers. It's a sunny afternoon. We're indoors. Let's jump into things. Okendo.
Absolutely.
Reviews?
So, yeah. I think, Scott, I mean, you guys obviously made your name in the e-commerce space with reviews, right?
Yeah.
And certainly from our perspective, we would say the market leading platform for reviews in e-commerce. But I think at this point, everyone kind of knows about reviews, right? Every brand knows that they should be collecting and promoting product reviews and brand reviews. I'm keen to start the pod off by maybe getting a little bit more into what's the layer above just collecting and having reviews on your website. UGC is super powerful.
Yep.
What are some of the things that merchants could or should be doing with their review data to get more out of it?
Yeah, it's kind of going from 101 type implementation of reviews into the next level or advanced level of reviews, which may seem scary in a sense, but it's very easy to do. It doesn't take a lot of effort. You just need to know what to do. So I think what Okendo really champions and pioneers is this whole concept of zero-party data. So really getting to know your customers, asking them questions, and profiling your customers. And Okendo does that at time of review. So you can ask these really nice additional questions. If you're purchasing a T-shirt, Scott, how tall are you? Where are you going to wear it? What's your body type, etc. So you can profile me, which is great for both obviously the brand.
Yep.
If you're the brand, you can understand who's buying it, purchase product level decisions as well.
Yeah.
But even better, you can use that type of data for improved segmentation and comms in the back end through great platforms like Klaviyo.
Yeah.
Which is what we love and what we don't see enough brands doing.
And that's the biggest thing about our relationship with Okendo, right? Like we've got this great story about some late night ramen with one of the founders, Matt Garvin, right, Jason?
Yeah. I mean, I think that was very early days when we were first being introduced to you guys meeting Matt Garvin, who, wasn't probably his most fun or best way that he would want to spend a night going out and networking with a bunch of people. But we met at an event, and after having like a really good chat about using customer data and potentially how it could be leveraged in Klaviyo, we ended up, eating ramen at 1 a.m. in Sydney, as you do, talking about what an integration might look like. But
with Klaviyo.
Yeah, with Klaviyo. And I think that was like, for us as well, one of those things that really made Okendo or makes Okendo stand out is their willingness to kind of listen to people that are in the trenches with, what are some things that we actually want to be able to do better marketing, and then take that to product and be like, hey, can we build this? And if so, like when,
Totally. It's something which, for me, I hear from merchants and from partners every day of like, hey, have you thought about adding X, Y, Z to your product. And we can't have thought of everything from the day we built the platform. So we are evolving every single day, building the product. It's probably a good time to leak some news. We are releasing review translation. So a little bit off topic from personalization from a data level perspective and profiling. But basically what we're releasing tomorrow, I don't know when this is going to air, but sorry.
Yeah, it might be old news, but that's fine.
It might be old news, hey? But yeah, it's effectively automatic translations based on the local market that customer is shopping from. So if you're a store in Australia, but you sell in France or Italy, because the great evolution of Shopify markets, you can we can automatically translate the English reviews from your Australian audience into French.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, historically that's needed to be done through a third-party app like Weglot or Langify or something like that. But now we can do it in-house, which is amazing. It's a huge testament to the evolution of Shopify without borders or e-commerce without borders, I should say. And the testament to the Okendo team of we're always growing. We're always trying 100%. To improve.
And that's what we want, right? We want to work with partners and platforms that are investing in the product, right? Constantly making it better.
Yep.
Not old platforms that did well 5-6 years ago and selling old rope, putting the money back into R&D, developing features, staying ahead of the field. We want to work with the best of the best.
And I do feel like there is a little bit of a changing of the guard in the app ecosystem.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
I think consolidation has led to a lot of apps. Some apps have
massively,
moved forward and shown their worth, and others have maybe stagnated a little bit.
And look, there's always going to be people that sit on one side of the fence. Consolidation is a very important aspect to tech decisions.
Yeah.
But equally, you'll find CMOs and head of e-coms out there that will be no, I just need best of breed. I'm happy to run multiple apps. So it's the consolidation is a big part, but equally brands that just haven't platforms that haven't innovated.
Yeah.
And that has happened a little bit in the ecosystem.
Definitely.
So it's those that have innovated, I'm obviously a little bit biased, but Okendo is certainly one of them. We've stayed ahead of the course. We're trying to stay ahead of the course. Mm-hmm. But there is new waves of app coming through as well that are making claim and there's new segments to tap into like memberships and inverter rates. So each to their own, or rising tides.
Yeah, lift all ships.
So
yeah, for sure.
Kudos to them.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to talk about. I think we touched a little bit on reviews there and using that profile data, which I think I'd highly encourage anyone who's listening who maybe wants a bit more information on that to jump onto the Okendo website. There's really, really cool case studies and client examples of things like that, but really powerful way to do some of the simple things that Scott was saying. Ingest that data about someone's preferences and then build segments that you can market to based on those reviews. But I think, talking about Okendo breaking new ground and releasing new features, surveys came out, I think last year now, right? And then there was referrals as well. But the one that we were really excited for was quizzes.
Yes.
Really great way to help a customer with product discovery, right? And like collection discovery and work their way through your website while also you collecting that information to be able to create a personalized experience for them.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear, I think, if you're a merchant listening to this, you're probably thinking, or you've probably done a couple of quizzes and you might be thinking, sure, if I was a makeup brand and I had to ask about skin type, that would be great. But what are some of the implementations that we're seeing from maybe, brands like bedding or fashion or something like that, where you might not think about a quiz, but it's actually effective?
I think we're Australian based for those listening. And I think Australia is probably a little bit behind on the quiz aspect.
Yeah.
Whereas in North America and the USA, they're just, it's so common over there. And they've had platforms out there doing this stuff for a while.
Yeah.
So in Australia, we're kind of still educating the market. And a part of that education is like, it makes sense to me and I might have done it for a skincare brand or something like that. But realistically, no matter what you sell, no matter what you sell, a quiz is viable.
Yeah.
whether you're playing in the kind of authority space, like, hey, just let me tell you what you want, whether you're playing into because your catalog is so big and you've got choice paralysis, you need to help that merchant just narrow down their selection. You know, whether that's clothing and, hey, I needed something for formal wear versus going to work versus, you know, casual at home wear, whether it's we built a quiz recently for a vacuum brand because you've got steam mops, vacuums, wet and dry, battery, cordless. And it's like, oh my God, I don't know what's right for me. No matter what you sell, I'm telling you, a quiz is viable.
It's the alternative or the example of what your traditional retail, brick and mortar, omni-channel, it's your sales assistant.
Exactly.
Hey, how can I help you today? What are you looking for? This is me. This is what I'm into. I don't really know. Let me take you to aisle 37 and show you, right? That's what a quiz does. Except we also save all those results, bring them in, first party, zero party data, build your segments out. Profile your customers.
Yeah, here's the real life example. Like if I walk into, I'll be silly, but real, a supplement store.
I imagine you.
I might go to the gym, and I'm like, hey, I'm looking for the most recent and best pre-workout. You know, pre-workout is crazy in the amount of ingredients that can go in there. And it's changing every month, year. The sales assistant will be up to scratch on it. They can let me know, hey, okay, you're working out at night, you want the pump, you want concentration, whatever. Use this. If that assistant has narrowed down probably 30 different choices for me and into my budget and made a recommendation, fantastic. But equally, if that sales assistant then went to the computer and typed into Scott's profile what I told him, which he doesn't do, let's be real. No brick and mortar store or sales assistant does that, but that's what the online version of a quiz does. So we save it, we pass it back into other platforms, and then you can build segments, flows, you know, do whatever you want off the back of that. And it doesn't have to be like a quiz recommendation flow, like, hey, just a reminder your products were ABC. Use that data for your next campaign, and you segment it down into, you know, XYZ that you learn about the profile.
And we see massive conversion rate increase off the back of quizzes, right?
So, I mean, for us, what we find is that on the email front, we see better conversion rates, better engagement, because we're doing more personalization, really. Which is great. But actually, we see a good increase in on-site conversion rate too.
Massive.
Which is like, you know, you're winning kind of in every sector there. And I think to your point, like the bed threads quiz is such a good example that you guys have on the website. And if anyone's interested in some new sheets, definitely go to Bedthread's website and take the quiz. But, you know, bedding, there's some simple questions around the size of your bed that you're looking for, right? But they go into details around fabric preference, like print, color preferences. And I think they do it in a really intelligent way as well, so that you're able to get to an outcome. Like another example is Good Pair Days website. They have a wine palette quiz, and you can say, I don't really know much about wine, and they'll just ask you basic questions like, well, do you like dark chocolate or milk chocolate? And, you know, the types of fruits, and they'll use all of that data. But, you know, how powerful is that for you then as the brand to be able to get them the right product recommendations, not just today, but next month, next year?
And that's what I wanted to say. That quiz helps you in your purchase right then and there. But because we're storing that information, we now know those 4 preferences that they set, and then we can load that into Klaviyo, and then we can build out campaigns and flows so that you have the right product feeds and blocks in your emails, or your flow decisions are made based on that information that we collected at that point, which you might not normally know, right? Like, yes, we can pick up on your browse behavior, but just because someone's clicking through categories isn't a real indicator that they're interested in those things. But if they fill that out as like, what are 3 patterns or flavors that you like, that might help guide you to an ultimate product decision. But that information about those 3 or those 2 or 3 alternatives is still valuable for us to use month 2, month 3, month 4.
The bed threads example is fantastic because, you know, I'm not the stylist in our house. But, you know, their questions are like, what is your decor preference? Is it coastal? Is it chic? Is it XYZ. I can't even
That's
name
it.
more. That's my limit. That's my limit. Oh my God, it's terrible. Shout out to my wife. She styles the house nicely. Yep. But it plays into the cross sell. Like, yes, it makes sense for my sheets, but they also sell bed heads and pillowcases and everything else. And so it just allows you to be better as a brand to communicate to your customers.
Yeah.
Why would you not want that? I don't know. 100%. There is no to that question.
Yeah. And then I think something else that you guys released, which definitely flies a bit under the radar, on the surveys front.
Yep.
We work with a few merchants that are really proactive with doing an NPS score and looking at that information. And we've got lots of examples of merchants who talk about that leading to real change in business process because they're finding issues that are recurring that customers are able to communicate. That's a major one. Like, where else are you seeing surveys being used really effectively?
Surveys is almost just a beast in disguise because surveys can be so simple. I'm going to ask you NPS and it's 1-2 questions, done and dusted.
Yeah.
I know if you're a detractor or a promoter off the back of that. But I can also run a quiz that is going to ask you about, who else do you like in the same category as us? What products do you think we should do next? What's the shipping and service experience like? The world is your oyster, effectively. Surveys can do anything for you. And I think brands today are very comfortable in making decisions without data. Just gut feel, which is fine. It will obviously get you so far. But why are you not listening to the community that help you build your brand to where it is today?
We see this all the time. You have an owner or a marketing manager saying, like, this is the brand and this is the feel and stuff. We're like, okay, we incorporate that.
Yes.
But when the emails start flowing and the data starts coming in, we're like, did you know that actually this segment actually is buying more or engaging more, not the segment that you thought? And then when you start presenting the data, people's mindset starts shifting around what they believed their customers were like and what they're into. Yeah,
absolutely. One example was when we it was around the launch of surveys. We gave it to a brand and their board, typically people not super, I shouldn't say that, but this brand I feel wasn't super, the board wasn't clued into the ecosystem.
Yeah, sure.
They're good business operators, but potentially...
There's sometimes a disconnect from the front line, right?
That's better put, a disconnect. And they're like, no, this flavour of chocolate bar is going to be best received next by our customers. And then they're like, oh, hold on, we've actually just launched Okendo surveys. Let's go run a survey to our customer base and ask them.
And that's good board decisions, right? Getting data, making decisions on data.
And so they did it, and the flavour that was most requested by the customer base was completely different to what the board thought was next. So very simple concept. And realistically execution, you just need to take a little bit of time to interrogate the data once you've got it.
I was speaking to a merchant recently who they've completely changed their logistics processes.
Very common.
Just because of the feedback that they were getting, just because they asked, which no one in the business was aware of previously.
Exactly.
And then referrals, I think, we can touch on it quickly, is a no-brainer, but I was really surprised for how long no one was kind of doing this really effectively in the e-commerce space, right? Like something that's an actual seamless experience to give your friend, like, I can hook you up with something, get a little discount, and buy that product that you've been eyeing that I have. Definitely like a good little secret weapon.
It's an interesting one. I think referrals is often simply tapped onto a larger loyalty program, and the loyalty program takes the majority of the workload and the focus. Whereas referrals can be so powerful.
Remember the refer a friend campaigns we used to do? Probably 2013, 2014. This is a mainstay. It's been around forever.
It's not a new concept.
Well, we had to build it from scratch. There was no actual platforms doing it back then.
We were building custom landing pages and plugging them into email platforms to send different messages off to people,
Yeah,
the
based
referrer versus the referee, and it was all completely custom and a massive pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And now platforms like Okendo come along and build it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And speaking of, Okendo building more and more products, there's a big one coming out. But first, word from our sponsor. Klaviyo powers smarter digital relationships, making it easy for businesses to capture, store, analyze, and predictively use their own data to drive measurable high-value outcomes. Klaviyo's modern and intuitive SaaS platform enables business users of any skill level to harness their first-party data from more than 350 integrations to send the right message at the right time across email, SMS, and push notifications. Innovative businesses like Frank Green, Koala, Budgie Smuggler, Who Gives a Crap, and more than 146,000 other paying users leverage Klaviyo to acquire, engage, and retain more customers and grow on their own terms. And we're back. So I just wanted to also plug our landing page, andzen.co/podcast. Make sure you jump on there, leave your details. We'll let you know all about next episodes. It's also super important for our sponsors so that they know who's listening. We've also got a free Add To Cart Klaviyo flow that we will that we've built, and then we will clone into your account. So if you check that box, we'll send it over to you. Other news, we're hiring for a CSM, Client Success Manager. So if you've ever wanted to come work for Andzen, give us a shout. Scott, I hear you're hiring too.
Yeah, a couple roles going at Okendo as well.
Very good, nice. Great company.
Yeah, we're growing pretty quickly as well. So we've
just jump on the career page and see what's new.
Yeah, well, at least in APAC, I know there's an onboarding manager going,
great,
and a partner manager as well.
Awesome.
So looking for 2 hires.
Awesome, yeah, and we're looking for either in Brisbane or maybe in the US or maybe both.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So before the break, Okendo Loyalty.
Spicy.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking a bit about referrals, which leads us kind of nicely into it.
Yeah.
We were lucky enough to be involved in the early adopters program with you guys, and we worked with an iconic Australian brand, but also local Brisbane business.
Yeah.
SABO. Definitely one that the team was really excited for. Everyone on the team obviously knows the brand. Like the whole program is amazing. We're really happy with it. Yeah. So yeah, if you're interested in seeing an implementation, check out saboskirt.com. But yeah, I'm really excited to hear about from your perspective, the journey of getting loyalty going and getting it off the ground, and where you guys see yourself fitting into that space. Yeah,
and I think not to gloss over, I think give due credit to you guys. Like you guys smashed that implementation.
Cheers. Yeah.
From like
as usual, hey James.
As usual, for sure.
Yeah.
From literally there was no program to strategy to design to dev and implementation. Like I have not seen anyone look at that page and not be in love with the styling. And kudos to SABO as well. Like
absolutely
had involvement with that and we're fair enough, quite particular in what they wanted, but the results speak for themselves.
That's it, 100%. Like I think the care that their team had for the program, right, meant that the creative was really beautiful and their involvement in making that all come to life. And then, it took a bit of work on the dev side to get it, to get it built. But I mean, the proof's in the pudding. It's performing outstandingly well, which is great.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think it's also a really honest to their brand and their customer program as well.
Yeah, and if Adrian from SABO is listening, big shout out to you because you led a lot of that from your side as well.
Absolutely.
Our team actually went to SABO today just for a catch up.
Yeah.
And the words were, I felt like I was in Greece in the office, like because it's got a Greek heritage.
Yeah, the brand.
And I think there's the community from their customers to also internal, you can tell they love the brand.
Yeah, 100%.
It's always good working with a client that has such a strong brand too, right? Like the creative assets are great, the attention to detail is great, which means there's probably a lot more work involved in it, but the outcomes always look spot on and like highly bespoke and custom, not off the shelf loyalty, right?
Exactly. And, as we just mentioned, Okendo's launched recently into the loyalty space, and we're still building and still growing and still, figuring out small things. Yeah. Adrian has been a big part of that, just like you guys have. But Adrian, as the user, the everyday user, he's messaging me, once a week, being like, hey, what about this, or add this, or, as a brand, I would really like to see this next. And it's like, I fucking love that. We need this feedback.
100%.
So it's been good. But I apologize. The question was...
You guys getting into
the
loyalty?
Journey of loyalty. Yes, it's actually been a long time coming for us. There has been loyalty players in market, and with the whole economic shift of inflation and interest rates growing and people watching their dollars, along with the cost of acquisition, like loyalty just took more focus from marketers. It's like, how can I do more with the people I have in my community base today? So we recognized that, and we were being honest and upfront. We were losing deals because we didn't have a loyalty product, and they would go with someone that did. So it's like, okay, great. Well, what do? We build it. So we went to the drawing board and we took our time because we're very particular about the level and quality of product that we release. So it didn't happen overnight. It did take a fair while. But it's been received really, really well. We launched in around June, and we have early adopters before that. But it's been exceptional. It's a really well-timed product because of that economic shift and everything like that. But this consolidation play, if I can have 4 or 5 different products of my tech stack under one roof, and we're pretty confident we can deliver a good product alongside consolidation, which is very important. It's been very well received.
And that's... we see that with our merchants. That's what they're looking for. Well, that's what customers are looking for right now, right? Value and brand affinity. That's loyalty, right? Tied in. And, we can build it. That doesn't just have to sit siloed off in a platform. It's a part of your website, Shopify, whatever platform you might be using. It's Okendo, and then it's integrated into Klaviyo, it's integrated into flows. We build all of those loyalty tiers in, brings you back to the Shopify store. I think from a customer perspective, shopping at your brand, spending money on the brands that you like, being rewarded for that, and getting good value, tick, tick, tick.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, and I think it's worth touching on as well. Something that you mentioned there is that this is a platform that you guys built alongside the other platforms that you've built, which is actually, while consolidation is maybe a bit of a common thing now, building these platforms from scratch is actually very rare. Most tech platforms are, taking on a bit of money, acquiring a couple of platforms.
You didn't buy a loyalty those builders?
No, we're very proud of that fact.
But I think it is kind of in the product, right? Like you see the difference that it makes when all of these products were built to work together rather than being kind of stitched together. You understand the perspective of, hey, I've got funding, like let's go buy some or acquire some companies and merge and make a good platform, but that takes time. And it's not seamless. And
well, you can do it, and a lot of people do it, but you're right, it's complicated, and often they end up being completely separate, right?
Totally. And
this happens in email, like the whole cloud revolution from 10, 15 years ago. Without naming names, there are some big corporate platforms that definitely aren't cloud integrated. They are separate products still from what they acquired 20 years ago. Still behind the doors, separate products.
Exactly. And it's small things like renaming your payloads and APIs and things like that. It's not a seamless, coherent experience, whether you're the customer or whether you're the back of house dealing with it, from the tech aspect. So we're very proud of the fact, Okendo is Australian founded, Australian built. All of our devs and engineers and product team are all onshore. So
grown globally.
It's expensive, I'll tell you that. But it's we're very proud of it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm keen to hear. I think loyalty. We kind of talked about it a little bit with quizzes, right? And that there are probably a lot of people out there who are thinking, yeah, I don't know if loyalty is quite right for me. But I think ultimately there's a lot of brands that can really benefit. Like we were talking a little bit about this before we started recording with about brands in spaces like jewelry, right?
Yeah.
Where you might have shoppers where it's actually husbands shopping for their wives.
Yeah.
You might have shoppers who are saving up to buy that one piece that they really love.
Yeah.
And then you have other shoppers that are coming every couple of months to pick up earrings and then a ring and then a matching ring stack and whatnot. I'd love to hear maybe a little bit of your thought process around how you've been helping merchants kind of figure out, is loyalty right for me? How could I make it work?
Yeah. There's a science to loyalty, or it's actually the science towards all behavior.
Yeah.
Behavior equals motivation, ability, and prompt, and all of those factors have to meet together for someone to do something.
Yeah. And
in this instance, it's to purchase from a brand. So you need to have a program that's motivating. It's got points, it's got tiers, it's a level of gamification.
Yeah.
And a very quick note, I don't care how expensive your products are or how luxury you think your brand is. You need reviews, and if you're going to do loyalty, don't be afraid of points or some level of financial incentive, because no matter how rich you are, if you can save money, you will do it. And it's consistently rated through research as the number one driver for purchase motivation. Is, can I get a financial discount?
Rich people don't stay rich by spending all their money, right?
So
and like exclusivity too, right? Like loyalty gives you exclusivity, and that fits in with high value products.
Absolutely,
definitely, and so. There's a science behind it, and you have to factor it in. You have to really understand, who are my profiles? Like for brands, it may be very simple. I'm a clothing brand. My pricing of my products are very similar across the board. But a jewelry brand, as we were talking about, they can sell a $500 necklace or earring, but a $10,000 engagement ring. You are selling to different profiles. So you have to build a program that's catering for both. And it takes strategy and time, which you guys nail all the time.
Thank you.
And it's something which loyalty cannot be something you think you set and forget. It needs to be really understood, really good strategy, and consistently executed or actioned.
And it doesn't have to be just beautiful or well financially planned. It should definitely be those things. We were talking about before we started recording, it can be fun.
Yeah.
Like, what's that example?
I'm blanking.
Dixon's?
Dixon's. Oh, wow. These guys are amazing. Wow, sorry. So Dixon's a large scale brand in the US. They sell flannels.
Oh, yeah, I know the brand.
They're extremely popular. And so they've started with Okendo Loyalty, and they've got a great program out there. But their community base are very they ride motorbikes. That's why they wear flannels. They love to have fun and puns and stuff in their email content and their personality. So their loyalty program is called the DILF program. So Dixon inside a loyalty fam. And it works. It's doing super well.
Of course.
So Dixon and these guys, as a level of exclusivity, to touch on that point, they release flannels all the time. I think it's every week, if not every month, where they collab. They have different patterns, X, Y, Z. They have a fourth tier, basically what we call like the super fan tier, top 1%. They'll get a custom embroidered flannel, with their initials on it. They can't buy that anywhere else.
That's awesome.
It's a money can't buy thing. But it's highly recognized because this brand is huge, and people are like reselling their flannels online. Like they have a resale market out there, which is crazy. So it's a really nice kind of memorabilia for your top 1% to have.
That's awesome.
I love it, Scott. We could talk all day.
I certainly could.
Thanks for coming in, mate. Good to see you.
Thank you, guys.
Final, andzen.co/podcast. Jump on, put your details in. Even if you're subscribed already, but you haven't filled out the form, fill out the form. Do me a favor. Help a brother out.
Help a brother out.
Scott, what's up? What's going on? Where can people find you if they want to use Okendo?
Yeah, definitely.
Where do they go?
So Okendo.io, all the tech companies have .io these days, so don't do .com. Okendo.io. And look, we do have a Black Friday offer. Well, again, when's this going to be released?
Well, maybe.
Maybe we'll get there in time. Yeah. Look, if you hear this podcast, we'll offer.
We'll send some emails out too.
We can do a 60-day free trial as well.
Oh,
Great. That's amazing.
Fantastic. Well, we'll make sure we put that on the emails and the landing page. Scott, good to see you. Next episode,
Likewise.
You can tell us all about the new Okendo features that you would have built in the time.
yeah. Who knows how many that will be.
All right. Thanks, mate.
everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Howdy, it's Brendan here, just jumping in again before you head off. Another reminder, jump on over to andzen.co/podcast, put your details in. We'll send you all the information about the episodes, where you can subscribe, you can watch, all of the good stuff. Another reminder, free Add To Cart Klaviyo flow, fantastic, built by Andzen. And also that audit that Jason mentioned at the beginning, fantastic. Get yourself around it. Jump on andzen.co/podcast. See you on the next one.